All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we took a witness out of order, and that was the witness that appeared by Zoom because they were not going to be available for the remainder of this week. So this officer is still under oath. And if you would restate your name, please.
Deputy Jason Tibbs.
All right, state, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy Tibbs, thank you for joining us again today. I do just want to back up a little bit from yesterday. What was the first scene that you were dispatched to?
It was going to be Pat Booker Road and 1604 to photograph a vehicle.
Okay. And would it help your testimony throughout this process if you had your report to refresh your memory?
Excuse me?
Would it help your testimony if you had your report to refresh your memory?
Yes, please.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Page 28, is that your report?
Yes, it is.
Oh, feel free to just refresh your memory. Don't read that. So you responded to 1604 and Pat Booker.
Yes.
What were you responded for?
To take photographs of a vehicle and two complainants.
Okay. And what type of vehicle did you encounter when you got to the scene?
It was a Pontiac Torrent.
And what color was it?
Excuse me?
What color was it?
Red, I believe.
And do you recall the license plate?
Yes. Golf Hotel 56 Bravo November, Texas license plate.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Okay. Deputy Tibbs, I'm showing you what's been marked as states exhibits 14, 15, and 16. Do you recognize these?
Yes, I do.
Oh, and how do you recognize them?
I take these photographs. This is going to be the complainant's vehicle.
Okay. And do they fairly and accurately depict the complainant's vehicle on that day?
Yes, it does.
And has it been changed or altered at all?
No, it has not.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would offer states exhibits 14, 15, and 16 pending. Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
All right, states exhibits 14, 15, and 16 are admitted without objection.
When you encountered this vehicle, what did you notice about the vehicle?
The passenger side rear tire was flat.
And to clarify, that would be the back right tire.
That is correct.
And could you hear anything in that tire?
No, I could not. It was not moving or anything.
Okay. And were you just taking pictures?
That is correct.
And then after you finished taking pictures of the people that you encountered, do you recall their names?
I do not recall their names.
After you took their pictures and photographed the vehicle, what did you do at 1604 and Pat Booker?
That was it. I returned to the main theme.
Okay, and that address was what?
8619 Key North Way.
And when you arrived at that address, what were your primary duties on that scene at that time?
I photographed the suspect and I collected GSR from the suspect.
Okay, and that's what we went over yesterday. Is that
That is correct.
after you photographed the defendant and did the GSR, what did you do on the scene?
I was asked to go to Quick Trip gas station at Kitty Hawk in 1604 to collect a projectile from the complainant that he retrieved from his vehicle.
Okay. And so you were at 8619, did the GSR. Where was the Quick Trip that you responded to?
Kitty Hawk Road in 1604.
Okay. And what was at that location?
Excuse me?
What was at that location?
It's a gas station. Quick Trip is the name of the gas station.
And when you met with, who did you meet with?
It was the driver of that vehicle. I don't have the other part that shows what the person's names are, but it was the driver, the owner of that vehicle that had the damage on the wheel.
Okay. And so you met, was it a male or female?
It was a male.
Okay, and so you met him at the Quick Trip. What did he have done at the Quick Trip?
It wasn't at the Quick Trip. He had gone to a tire service place to get his tire changed, and they retrieved the projectile that was inside of the tire.
And so when you met up with the driver of the red Pontiac, what did he give you anything?
Yes, he gave me that projectile.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor? May we approach?
Yes.
May I take the witness on board diary, Your Honor?
Yes.
Uh, Deputy Investigator Tibbs, I want to,
It's just deputy.
Okay, thank
I don't
you.
have any rank.
okay. The projectile that you retrieved at the Quick Trip is that was handed to you by Mr. Dorn, correct?
Yes,
And is you were not present when the projectile was retrieved from the vehicle, were you?
that is correct.
And you did not inspect the interior of the tire at the scene, correct?
That is correct.
And when the projectile was handed to you, it had already been removed from the tire.
That is correct.
And you're based on your personal knowledge, you don't know who retrieved the bullet from where. Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
All right, state.
Yes, Deputy Tibbs, what day was this the same day that you went out to the scene?
Yes, it is.
So that was the same day, October 10th
Yes,
of 2022?
that is correct.
When you responded to 1604 and Pat Booker, were you notified that there was a defect in the tire?
Well, the tire was flat,
You can
and
see that
that's
with
what they were claiming was there was a defect in the tire.
How long after you left the scene and went to Quick Trip?
It was probably a couple hours.
And when you went to the Quick Trip, who handed you the projectile?
It was the owner of that vehicle, the guy I had photographed earlier.
Okay. And do you have any information of how he retrieved that projectile?
Your Honor, I believe it's asked and answered and additionally hearsay.
And
All right, that'll be overruled.
do you have any information on how he retrieved that projectile?
Just by what he had told me, he'd gone to the tire
Just
shop.
1 second. The answer to her question is either yes or no. You're not allowed to say what anyone else told you.
Okay. Can you repeat it, please?
Did you have any information on how that projectile was received
Yes,
or retrieved? I'm sorry.
yes.
And Your Honor, may we approach?
The court?
Yes, the court.
Yes.
Deputy Tibbs, do you recognize this?
Yes, this is a piece of evidence I brought over.
Okay. And how do you know if, I guess, how do you know if this is evidence that belongs to this case?
I signed it out from the property room.
Okay. And does it have an identifying number?
Yes, it does.
And what is that identifying number?
22-02-1094.
And do you know what's inside this envelope,
It's going to be the envelope that I packaged the projectile in.
the one that you received from the driver?
Yes.
Let me get you your glimpse.
They're not gonna move.
Thank you. And for the record, the exhibit for Deputy Tibbs is going, the outside package is labeled State Exhibit 32. Go back to it. And now looking. Yeah. And now looking at States Exhibit 33, do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how do you recognize it?
It's my evidence label and my handwriting, along with my initials on the back of the seal.
And do you know what's inside of that?
Yes, it's going to be the projectile.
Okay, Deputy Tibbs. So after you went to the Quick Trip and collected States Exhibit 33, what did you do?
I returned back to the original scene to wait on the search warrant for the house and the
For-
car
I'm sorry, for the house, and
and the car.
would that be the defendant's car?
Yes.
While you were at the scene and before you completed the search warrant, did you take any pictures?
Yes, I did. When I first arrived at the scene, I took photographs of the front of the location and kind of searched the area for any spent shell casings or weapons or projectiles.
And when you say search the area, what area are you talking about?
The front yard and the street and the neighboring yards and the street in front of the neighbors' houses.
And were you able to find any spent shell casings or any evidence in your search of the front yards and street?
No, I was not.
For the pictures that you took, may I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I took out all the ones that. The ones that showed. Everything's just. That's what's.
Yeah, defense has no objection, Your Honor.
All right, and what are the exhibit numbers, please?
Yes, Your Honor, they are out of order. So Deputy Tibbs, I'm showing you States Exhibit 30, 18, 7, 21, 17, 24, 11, 10, 8, 31, and 12. Take a moment and let me know if you recognize those.
All right, and defense, you said you had no objections to the admissibility?
To those photos, no objection, Your Honor.
All right, then states exhibits 7, 10, 11, 12, 8, 18, 17, 21, 24, 30, and 31 are admitted without objection.
Thank you. Are these the pictures that you took that day?
Yes.
What color was the defendant's car?
Excuse me.
Your Honor, asked and answered and a hearsay.
All right, if you can lay
Lack
the
of personal
foundation.
knowledge.
Sure. What color was the vehicle you searched on the scene?
What color was the vehicle?
Mhm.
It was silver.
Thank you. And can you describe it for us?
4-door vehicle. It was parked on the curb in front of the house.
And as you were searching, let me back up. Do you have the make and model?
I believe it was a Chevy.
And as you were searching that vehicle, did you find anything of evidentiary value in the vehicle?
No, I did not.
And after you searched the vehicle or before, were you able to go inside the home to search?
Yes, I was.
Can you walk us through that process?
First, I walk through the house and I take photographs. And then we usually have several investigators out there on location and they assist with searching. I search the master bedroom area and then they search kitchens, living rooms, bathrooms, other bedrooms. And if they find anything, they usually come back and talk to me. And I'll go in and photograph it and collect it as evidence. If I find stuff, I go ahead and collect it and package it as evidence and take photographs of it.
And before you search a home, do you have to get permission to enter the house?
Yes, that's through the search warrant.
Okay. And in this case, was there a search warrant?
Yes, there was.
All right. After searching the house, to your knowledge, was there any evidence found inside the house for this case?
There were items collected, but no evidence pertaining to this case.
Okay. I'll pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Vince?
Thank you, I'm so sorry. Deputy Tibs, when you arrived at the scene, you searched the area thoroughly along with other officers who were also there, correct?
That is correct.
And that included underneath the vehicle and in all surrounding areas, correct?
That is correct.
And that silver vehicle Chevy was removed from the scene by a tow truck?
You mean before we searched or
After.
after? I don't believe so, but I'm not absolutely sure.
Okay. You have the ability, Bear County Sheriff's Office has the ability to have vehicles towed and impounded, correct?
That is correct.
And in fact, you have a garage or other area specifically for the processing of vehicles, correct?
That is
you tow
correct.
in?
That is correct.
Okay. And to your knowledge, the vehicle on 1604 and Pat Booker, Mr. Conrad Dorn's vehicle, that vehicle was released to him at the scene, correct?
That is correct.
So it was not towed for processing, correct?
That is correct.
But you did observe defects such as bullet holes in the vehicle, correct?
In the tire, yes.
In the tire? Did you?
Well,
Okay.
not actually, I didn't actually observe the actual defect,
Okay.
but the tire was flat and that's what they were claiming is that the tire had been shot.
Okay. Okay. And but the vehicle, again, it was released to Mr. Dorn to do what he needed to do with the vehicle, correct?
That is correct.
And when you arrived at the scene, now I'm talking about the home address, there were many people outside when you got there. Is that fair to say?
Yes, there were several people in the yards next door. Neighbors were out.
And are you, would be CSU? Is that, what is your role?
Crime scene unit.
Crime scene, okay. I figured CSU is what that meant. Okay, I'm
Right.
sorry. Okay, so is it, you did notice that there were a lot of people kind of milling around outside, neighbors and such, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you yourself, you did not go speak to any of those people, correct?
That is correct.
And that probably would not necessarily be within your role at the scene to speak to witnesses, or would it be?
That is correct. That's the investigator's job.
Okay, so that wouldn't be your role.
That's correct.
Okay, but the neighborhood, the homes were relatively close together, is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and how many homes did you ask to enter to search?
None.
Okay. How many homes was a search warrant obtained for a search?
Just one.
Okay. And you recall, I'm sure, several men in the driveway of the house next door, correct?
That is correct.
And were you inside the home at the time of the search, or you came in after for photographing?
I was inside the home at the time of the search.
And how many officers were inside the home searching it?
I would probably say 3 or 4.
Several.
Yes.
And it was what, like a 3 bedrooms upstairs
Yes.
and a living area and kitchen downstairs?
Yes.
Not a particularly large house, correct? And as far as you could observe, it was thoroughly searched by your colleagues, correct?
That is correct.
I pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
State?
Just to clarify, the driver of the red vehicle, was that towed from 1604 and Pat Booker?
I don't know. I left him with the vehicle. I'm guessing he might have gotten a tow truck, but it wasn't done by us.
Okay, then that's what I wanted to clarify. Your Honor, at this time, the state would pass the witness.
Any follow-ups?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. You can't view anything regarding this case. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state and defense. Do you understand?
I understand.
Is this witness subject to recall?
From the state, yes.
All right, just make sure you're available if either party wishes to recall you. All
Understand.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
State, you can call your next witness.
Take this.
Your Honor, may I have just one moment to go make sure that she's
Yes.
outside? Thank you. Yes.
Yes. Sure, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to take a brief recess while the other witnesses is brought from downstairs. Remember my previous instructions, you're not allowed to think about this case or discuss this case. The only time you're allowed to deliberate is when I instruct you to. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. Well, sort of a 10-minute break. I'll have you all back at 10:35. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. At this point. What's your name?
Denise, how about it?
Denise.
Yeah. Oh, here they are. Make sure there's time. Mhm. That has a CD player. Your Honor, if we have to use the TV to publish the evidence, is that okay?
Sure.
Deborah might be next, and if not, then it'll be Gyrus because he's here. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, for the jury.
State, call your next witness.
State calls Denise Alvarado.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Then lower your hand, please be seated. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Alvarado, what do you do?
My title is a digital evidence technician for the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
And what are what are your duties?
My duties are to research, locate, and catalog body worn camera, fleet cameras, as well as audio recordings.
Okay, and what type of audio recordings?
911 dispatch calls.
And in regard to the 911 dispatch calls, how are these records kept?
They're kept in a database called MediaWorks.
And is that is that the normal course of business to keep them in that particular medium?
Yes.
Is there any documentation that is generated as a result of someone calling 911?
There's an audio recording as well as an incident detail report related to a case number.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 37. What is this?
This is an incident detail report.
And how do you know that's what it is?
It's related to the case numbers that I usually will research.
And would having a copy of that help refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. So you can use that to refresh your memory, but just don't read directly off of it.
Mhm.
So on that particular 911, what date was that call made?
10/10/22.
And who was the call taker?
The call taker was a dispatcher named Christopher D'Antonio.
And who made that call?
Initially somebody named Barbara.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm handing you a second IDR. Mark State's Exhibit 27. Does that also look like a incident detail report?
Yes, this is.
Okay. And are there separate incident detail reports for separate calls?
There are, that's typical if you have more than one caller.
Okay, so what is the date on that second one?
10/10/22.
And who was the call taker?
This one is named, I believe, well, I'm not quite sure because this is stating that there's this was an SAPD transfer. There was more than one caller for this case number. I don't know the name of the second caller.
Okay. And what time was that? So we're looking at State's Exhibit 27. What time was that phone call made?
The IDR states 12:36.
And what was the phone number that it was associated with that call?
For State's Exhibit 27,
Yes.
214-8600.
Are there any unique identifiers associated with this particular call?
Can you define unique identifiers between the two?
Is there a BCSO case number that's associated with this call?
For State's Exhibits 27, there is.
Okay.
For the separate exhibit, there's not.
Okay, so focusing on State's Exhibit 27, what is the BCSO case number for that particular call?
2022 BCSO 021094.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
So focusing on State's Exhibit 27, I am now showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 36. Do you know what this is?
Yes,
And what is it?
this is one audio call that is related to the case number.
And how do you know that that's what it is?
Because I researched the calls for this case number.
And have you listened to this call?
I have.
And is it a true and accurate recording of the 911 call that was made regarding BCSO case number 021094?
It is.
And how do you know that you've listened to that?
Prior to attending court, I researched the call. I listened to the calls and then I listened to them again here.
Okay. And have you listened to that particular
exhibit that I just gave you?
For the audio call,
Yes.
I have,
Okay, and how do you know that you listened to it?
because I researched it and I listened to it.
Is
Just
there
now.
was there any markings on that exhibit that you made to say that you have listened to that particular recording?
Oh, I've initialed and dated it today's date.
Okay, so you listened to the recording. Was that recording prepared on a device capable of making an accurate recording?
What do you mean by that question?
So how are the 911 calls stored?
They're stored in a database called MediaWorks.
Okay. And is MediaWorks capable of making an accurate recording when 911 calls come in?
Yes,
So is the recording an accurate representation of the conversation that took place?
yes,
And has that recording been altered in any manner?
no,
Was that recording kept in the normal course of business?
yes.
Was the operator competent to take the call? To operate the device when the call came in?
I've not completed any kind of dispatch training. However, I'm aware that dispatchers do have to complete training in order to retrieve and receive calls.
So that's part of their like licensing and training in order to operate that device.
Correct.
And was that call made at the time of the event?
It was.
Okay, so I'm going to turn your attention now to State's Exhibit 37. And who was the call taker again on that one?
Someone named Barbara.
And what was the phone number associated with that call?
713.
What time was that phone call made?
1242.
And was that call linked to a BCSO number?
I'd have to fully research this incident detail report to find the case number that it's linked to. I can only tell you for sure the incident number that it has.
Okay. And what is that incident number?
BCSO 2022 0330379.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 34 and 35. And what are those?
These are 911 audio recordings.
Okay. And have you listened to both State's Exhibit 34 and 35?
I have.
And what are they?
They're 911 dispatch calls.
And are they a true and accurate recording of a 911 call that was placed regarding this incident number?
Yes.
Can you identify which 911 operator took the call?
Someone named Christopher D'Antonio.
And are these copies of the original 911 call?
Yes.
And you have listened to these recordings, is that right?
I have.
Was, are these recordings prepared on the MediaWorks, I guess, software that you have?
They are.
Are these an accurate representation of the conversation that took place?
Yes.
And have these recordings been altered in any manner?
No.
And how do you know that?
No call is altered in the software, and this is audio that I listened to today and initialed and dated for today's date.
And are these recordings kept in the normal course of business?
Yes.
When was this recording made?
10/10/22.
Was it made at the time of the event?
It was.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
At this time, state would offer States Exhibit 34 and 35 into evidence.
Your Honor, I would urge objections with regard to that on the grounds of relevance, hearsay, uh, inability to cross-examine in violation of rights to cross-examine, and lack of proper foundation.
All right, States Exhibit number 34 and 35 are admitted.
Your Honor, may we have permission to publish?
Yes. If y'all want to play it from your laptop, and then if you put a microphone next to your laptop, the jurors will be able to hear. Sure.
Thank you.
Or I believe you can also play it from your computer as well.
Sorry. I'm playing States Exhibit 34. And just for clarification, there is some dead time at the beginning of the.
Hi, yes, I want to make a complaint. Somebody's over here shooting next door, and we have kids in the house, and we need to make sure that, I'm not next door, I'm like three houses down, but yeah. I'm sorry?
What's your address?
Key Largo.
What's your address?
I'm sorry?
What's your address?
We're in.
What?
The neighborhood is Key Largo?
No, what's your address?
Oh, no, not with that phone, sir.
Okay, that was the complete States 34. And I'm now playing States Exhibit 35.
Hello?
Hello, man, Chris from Bear County, I believe we're disconnected. You said Key Largo way?
No, I wasn't disconnected. I didn't like your tone.
Where's
So,
the Key
yes,
Northwest?
I'm in Key Largo neighborhood.
Okay, the street name for the shooting?
The shooting is, what's the name of the street? Key Northway, and then it looks like they shot my car.
Your address?
Um,
86270 Northway? No, it's an officer out, man, what's your name?
my name is Barbara.
Garza?
No, Barbara.
Barbara, got it, yes, ma'am. I see your callback number for you for 713-930-5077.
Yes.
And when did this happen?
It just happened, like, just the neighbors, it looks like they got into it with somebody and they came over here and shooting. And the neighbors shot it, and it looked like they shot my car. So the next door neighbors were the one that was shooting. At some car that came through and they shot my car.
Make a call to your car.
My car is, a Jeep. Patriot, yes.
Did the description come with
We didn't get into the house and we heard the shot. But it was the next door neighbors, they were talking with the people, like arguing or something. Oh, the police is outside. Did they shoot my car? I guess. Oh. Okay, the police is out here now. Why are you looking at my car? Oh, the police is here now, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Uh-huh.
Your Honor, we passed the witness.
All right, defense.
No, Jack, no, questions, Your Honor.
All right, this is witness excused or subject for recall.
This witness may be excused, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone except for parties for the state or defense. You're not allowed to view anything. Do you understand?
Understood.
All right, thank you. State, call your next witness.
Um, Your Honor, may we judge?
Yes.
My apologies, Judge. The state calls Deborah Conception.
All right, no problem. State, is your witness on the way?
Oh, yes, Your Honor, she went upstairs to go grab her. Ashley just stepped outside to check on them.
She's like a permanent. Oh. You good on yours? You know, approaching with the judge now.
Your Honor, may we approach
Yes.
briefly? State calls Gyrus Sadie White. Eighteen. It's 19.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, you can lower your hand and have a seat. If you'll state your name for the record.
Gyrus White.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you pronounce your name Gyrus, is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And Gyrus, how old are you?
19.
And what do you do?
I'm currently in school right now.
What are you in school for?
Physical therapy.
And how much longer do you have until you graduate?
About 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
I want to talk to you today about October 10th of 2022. Do you remember that day?
Yes,
Okay, and where were you on that day?
at home.
And who lived in that house with you at that time?
Me, my mom, my sister Jayla, and then my sister Kiki.
Did anyone else live in the house?
Oh, and Dominic, yes. No.
And who's Dominic?
My mom's husband.
And do you see him in the room with us right now?
Yes.
Can you identify him by a piece of clothing?
Yes, in the white shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that Gyrus has identified the defendant. Okay, so you lived in the house with your mom and Dominic and your sisters. Do you remember the address of that house?
8619 Key Northway.
So that morning, who was in the house?
One is me, Jayla, my mom, and then Dominic.
And And did Jayla go anywhere?
That day she was going to work, she was preparing to go to work.
Okay. Do you know about what time she was leaving to go to work?
I think about 2 or 3 p.m.
Okay, so at that point, then it was who was in the house after Jayla left?
After she left, it happened before, like when she was leaving.
Okay,
So before then, it was me, my mom, Jayla, and Dominic on the house. And then it happened when she was leaving for work.
okay. And where you said it happened? What happened?
When Dominic shot at the Uber she was getting into.
Okay, so you said Dominic shot. Okay, where were you at this time?
I was in my room on the upstairs.
Okay, and if you were in your room, is it towards, like in terms of the layout, is your room more towards the front of the house or the back of the house?
It's facing the street, so I say the front because the window is facing the outside street.
Okay, so the window is facing the front yard into the street, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So you were in your room, and then what happened after that?
After that, I heard gunshots and I looked out the window and I saw him in the middle of the street and I heard the car like swerve off and then I ran downstairs outside to see what happened.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go back a little bit.
Okay.
So you were in your bedroom and you heard the shots, right?
Yes.
Do you know about how many shots you heard?
3.
3 shots. After you heard the shots, what did you do?
Well, while the shots were going off, I was on the phone with my other sister Kiki at the time.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. If you can, the microphone, yes, that one. If you can pull it up and speak into that so both parties can hear.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you put that on? That right there, thank you.
And that's the microphone for the court reporter to hear through her headphones. Yes. Thank you.
So Gyrus, and just before we go on, we can't talk about what anybody said to you.
Okay.
Okay. So you were on the phone with which sister?
Kiki.
Okay. So you were on the phone, you heard the gunshots in your room. What did you do after you heard the gunshots?
After I heard the gunshots, I looked out the window and I saw him in the middle of the street and then I ran downstairs.
Okay. So you said you saw him in the middle of the street. Who is him?
A dog.
And he was in the middle of the street. What was he doing in the middle of the street?
Shooting bull. He just had been shooting at the car.
Okay. So how was he standing?
With his right, or I don't remember which arm, with his arm extended towards the direction of the vehicle.
Okay. Do you remember in the direction of the vehicle, do you remember what color that vehicle was?
I do not.
Okay. And what was that vehicle doing?
It was like swerving off down around the corner. Yeah, driving off.
Okay. It was driving off.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so he was standing in the middle of the street.
Object to leading in testimony from the council table.
All right, that'll be sustained.
So was Dominic standing near anything when you saw him from the window?
Well, his car was parked in the driveway, so I'll say that.
Okay. And what color is his car?
It's silvery white or like cream.
And that is his car?
Yeah, the Impala.
When his arm was outstretched, was he holding anything?
Oh, yes, the gun.
Okay, and do you know what kind of gun that was?
No, it was a handheld one.
Do you know what color that gun is?
Black.
And just to be clear, what direction was that pointed?
Well, to my right. So if I'm looking out to my right here.
Let me rephrase. What direction was the gun pointed in?
Oh, the car.
Okay. Okay. When that car was driving off, did you see anyone from that car shooting?
No.
After you looked outside, what did you do next?
I ran downstairs,
And where did you go downstairs?
outside of the front door.
And what did you do outside?
I saw Dominic and we spoke.
And what did he tell you?
Donna, I object to hearsay.
All right, who is the what? The person? Who is the person you're speaking of?
It's Dominic, the defendant.
All right, if you'll lay the foundation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Gyrus, are you a peace officer?
No.
When you went outside, did you ask Dominic any questions?
I asked what happened. Or what was going on, what happened.
Okay. At that point, was there any police officers in the area at that time?
And
And so what did Dominic tell you?
Can I re-urge my objection?
All right, that'll be overruled.
You can answer.
he's apologizing, sorry.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Oh, and he said he was sorry. He was apologizing.
Do you remember the exact words he used?
Not the exact ones, no, not verbatim.
Did he say anything about Jayla at that point?
He just said that he thought the car was somebody else. So not specific.
While you were outside, did you see Dominic talking to anyone else outside of the house? While you were outside, did you pick up anything?
No.
After your conversation with Dominic, what did you do?
I ran back into my room and then I called Jayla's phone.
Did Dominic come back inside the house at that point?
Yes.
And did he say anything to you when you were inside?
Yes.
Your Honor, again, I object hearsay, relevance, and ask the court to do a balancing test.
All right. The court is completing a balancing test. The court is finding that it is more probative than prejudicial, and the objection is overruled.
You can answer.
He followed me upstairs and trying to explain himself.
And what was he saying?
Like, sorry, I thought it was somebody else. He didn't know what Jayla did in terms of.
He didn't know what, I'm sorry.
He didn't know what Jayla did in terms of.
Did you stay in your room after you went upstairs and called Jayla?
Yes.
Okay, so did you see Dominic doing anything inside of the house?
No.
You're gonna be past the witness.
Defense?
Gyrus, when you went back upstairs to your room, right?
Yes.
And then, but at some point, then you again came back outside, correct?
So when I came back downstairs, it was in the police car.
Okay. And when the police arrived, were there a lot of people outside already?
Not a lot, no more than like 10,
Okay. A lot of neighbors.
like on the far side of the neighborhood, not like directly in front of our house.
Okay. And do you remember seeing the next door neighbors outside on the driveway or playing basketball, or you don't remember that? Do they have a basketball net in their driveway?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Okay. And do you see that, how often do you see them out there or hanging out or partying?
Often.
Okay. And you're in Jayla or both both have the same parents?
Yes.
Okay. And your mom is divorced from your father, correct?
Yes.
And your mom is married to Dominic Nicholson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who called your father?
I think Jayla, I don't remember. I don't think I called them, because I can't call my sisters first.
Okay, you called your sisters first. And did your sister arrive? Kiki?
Kiki, no, my other sister, Shakira.
Okay. And is Shakira also have the same parents as you and Jayla?
No, we have the same mom.
Okay. And at the time your dad arrived, did he bring Jayla over there with him?
No, Jayla wasn't able to arrive until later. Way later.
Okay. Do you remember who brought her over there?
I don't remember if she got an Uber or if the police brought her back. I don't remember.
Okay. Did your dad arrive before or after Jayla?
Before.
Okay. And so, did you have a chance to speak with your dad?
Yes.
And, you did not see the shooting, correct?
No.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
State.
Gyrus, how long between hearing the shots? How much time had elapsed from you hearing the shots and you going to your window?
Second, I believe.
And when police arrived, did Dominic come outside with you?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I went outside first.
About how long would you say until he came outside?
Like 20 minutes ago, then they talked to me first.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Gyrus, your room is above the garage? Or above the living room?
Above the living room.
Okay. So, and that would be,
Wait, no, it's above like the front door.
okay. So would it be, okay, so facing your front door?
Mhm.
Like if you're walking inside your house?
Yes, the front.
Okay, your room would be closer to the left neighbor or the right neighbor?
If you're walking in front, it would be closer to the left.
Closer to the left neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay. And you heard shots and you looked out your window.
Yes.
Okay. And then you were immediately concerned because you heard shots, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was that upsetting to you to hear shots?
Yes.
And when you heard the shots, who did you speak to next?
I heard the shots, looked out the window, I went outside and I looked it off.
Okay. And then you went back inside the house, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were there when the police searched the house or outside?
Outside.
Okay. Were you there when the police were searching the area?
Yes.
Okay. And you recall there were a lot of officers out there searching, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And several officers who went inside your home to search, correct?
Yes.
And how long were they out there? An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
Well, they were out there for a while because after they initially called us out, we were able to go back inside while they were like still outside like talking about it. Then we had to come back outside and then like three small miles. We like stay outside for like till like 6, 7 p.m. till the sun was going down.
So quite a while they were at the scene?
Yes.
Okay. And how long did they have at some point they put like yellow tape around or they blocked it off somehow? Okay. But they were out there and sort of securing the area, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And who else was in the house during that time period?
Well, my mom, she was there. My sister Shakira had came. My dad never came to that house. It's only come like that. It's just my mom, Shakira, and me.
And where did Jayla go somewhere else?
That was when Jayla, the car had drove off. So Jayla was at the scene.
Well, I'm sorry?
Like after it happened, after the gunshots, like the car had drove off. Jayla wasn't able to come back until like an hour or two after.
Okay, but when she came back, did she go into the house with y'all?
No, when she came back, that was after the time we were allowed to go back in when they were searching it inside. When she came back, we had to stay outside.
Okay, okay. So y'all were outside until 6 or 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, so during that time, they're inside the house?
Yes.
So they spent quite a long time inside the house, correct?
Yes.
And do you still live with your mom and Jayla?
No.
Okay. Do you live with your mom?
No.
You live with Jayla?
No.
Okay. Or do you live with any of your other sisters?
Not currently.
Okay. And at the time this happened, you were 16?
Yes.
Were you were still in high school?
Yes.
And now you graduated and going to college, correct?
Yes.
And when you were outside watching the police search the area, correct?
Yes.
And did you see them search your yard and other yards? Or which yards did you see them search?
I don't really recall like which one specifically.
Okay. You recall they were there for a while.
Yes.
And the yards, what would the size of the yards be, would you say? Like, would it take a very long time to search a yard?
Not the front one, the back maybe, but the front is like pretty small.
Okay. And how long were they in your backyard?
I don't know. Whenever they went inside the house, we were outside, so I don't know.
Okay, okay. And then did you see them? Okay, the house to the left is one neighbor, the house to the right is a neighbor with a basketball net and bunch of young men that live next door, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You never saw the police interview those neighbors, did you?
No, not.
You never saw the police search their house, did you? Okay. You never saw the police pull them aside for one-on-one interviews, did you? I pass the witness at this time, Judge.
State.
Gyrus, when you looked outside, did you see anyone with a firearm?
Yes,
Did you see anyone else with a firearm?
No.
Did you see anyone else outside?
no.
We pass the witness.
Defense.
But to be fair, Gyrus, when you looked out your window, you saw Dominic and then you acted immediately, correct? You reacted immediately.
Yes.
At that moment in time, you weren't caring to go outside and inspect who else was out there, were you? It was scary to hear the shots. Okay. And Dominic was parked in the driveway.
Yes.
And so the amount of time you were at the window looking out was what, 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. I pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
State.
When you went outside after looking out your window, did you see anyone else outside?
No.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
I have nothing further at this time for this young man, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Subject to recall from the state, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to about this case are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand? All right, you may step down. State, call your next witness.
State calls Deborah Concepcion.
All right, does someone want to get her?
Yes, Your Honor, our advocate is getting her. She's upstairs.
Isn't she in the back room?
Your Honor, I do believe she went upstairs to our witness room and but our advocate was already on the way bringing her down. So that is in the works.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the witness that is being called to testify is going to use an interpreter. You are to hear the evidence as presented to you through the interpreter. If you do speak Spanish, it is not to be your interpretation of what the witness is saying. It is to be the interpretation that is given to you in English through the interpreter. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, if I could have the interpreter, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I, Laura Walden, license number 2407, do swear.
All right, you can lower your hand, and if you need a chair, we can have a chair for you if you would like to sit behind her. All right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, state, call your witness.
State calls Deborah Concepcion. All right, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I swear.
All right, you can lower your hand. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Deborah, how are you employed?
Soy la café manager en la escuela.
I'm the cafe manager of a school. And how long have you been doing that?
Un año y medio.
A year and a half. I'm gonna take you back to October 10th of 2022. Do you remember that day?
Sí,
Yes. And where were you on that day?
sentada en la sala de mi casa.
Sitting in the living room at my house. Was anyone else in the house with you?
Mi mamá
My mother. And where was she in the house?
estaba en su cuarto.
She was in her room. Are you married?
Sí,
Yes. And was your husband in the house?
no,
No. Where was he?
en el HEB.
At HEB. Do you recall an incident that happened on that day?
Sí,
Yes. And where were you when that incident occurred?
estaba sentada en la sala.
I was sitting in the living room. And what were you doing in the living room?
Estaba hablando por teléfono.
I was talking on the phone. And did you hear anything while on the phone?
Sí, escuché disparos.
Yes, I heard shots. Do you know about how many you heard?
Más de uno,
More than one.
3, 4, something.
3, 4, something like that. Were you still on the phone?
Estaba en el teléfono y le dije a la persona, oh, estoy escuchando disparos y le enganché.
Yes, I was on the phone and I told the person I am hearing shots, so I hung up. What else did you do when you heard the shots?
Me acerqué a la ventana porque escuché el carro que iba speeding, iba rápido.
I got to the window and I saw the car speeding because it was going fast. What do you remember what color that car was?
Era como color vino, rojo o color vino.
It was like wine color, like red wine color. And it was, so you said it was going fast, is that right?
Sí,
Yes. What direction was that car driving?
y esta es mi casa y estoy casi en la esquina. So, el carro venía de esta dirección. Esta es mi casa y aquí está donde tienes que doblar. So, para agarrar una esquina, tú no lo haces rápido. So, esa persona hizo sus llantas del carro. Like, it was fast. Iba a ser bien rápido.
Well, here's my house, it's almost to the corner, and he was coming from this direction. And here, you know, you need to turn, so you can't take that fast. But he did it fast, and his tires made a noise. So, to be clear, the car was driving away from your house? Is that right?
Sí.
Yes. Did you hear? Let me start over. Did you see anyone from the red car shooting?
No.
No. Did you see anyone else outside?
No.
What did you do after you looked out the window?
Llamé a mi esposo porque estaba preocupada que sabía que él iba a regresar y para que supiera que tuviera cuidado que había un tiro.
I called my husband because I was worried because he was coming back and to tell him that there had been shots. Did you make any other calls?
Ujú, sí,
Yes. And who else did you call?
al 911.
911. When you called 911, was your husband already home?
No,
No,
en eso él llegó.
within that he came.
I'm sorry, what was the answer?
During that time, he arrived.
You stated you called 911. Did you make the call on that day?
Sí,
Yes,
And was that date October 10th, 2022?
Mhm.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 36. Do you know what this is?
Ujú.
And what is it?
Es la grabación del 911.
it's the recording of the 911 call.
Okay, and how do you know that's what it is?
Eso es eso.
Porque yo le puse mis iniciales después que lo escuché la otra vez que estuve aquí. No aquí, pero arriba.
Because I put my initials after I heard it here, not here, but upstairs.
Is it and is it the same 911 call that you made on October 10th of 2022?
Yes,
When you listened to it, were you able to identify your voice?
yes.
Your Honor, it is at this time that state offers State's Exhibit 36 into evidence, as pursuant to the order of the court.
I would like an opportunity to review it, to review this disc, pursuant to the court's order. And so at this time, I do object until I have a chance to review it.
State, has the defense had a chance to review the exhibit,
Yes, Your Honor.
the redacted?
Not that point, Your Honor, and that's why we would ask that we do have some time to get that those redactions done as ordered by the court.
All right, so the redactions have not been completed.
Correct.
Do you have any other questions for this witness?
We do not, Your Honor.
All right, then are you passing the witness to the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Were you looking out an upstairs window or a downstairs window?
Está abajo.
Downstairs.
And were you looking through a window or the front door?
La ventana está al lado de la puerta.
The window is next to the door.
Okay. When you're facing your door, you're facing your door to go inside the house, which side of the door is the window on?
Si estoy desde afuera, es la izquierda, y si yo estoy adentro, es mi derecha.
If I'm outside on the left and if I'm inside on the right.
Okay. And how many trees do you have in your front yard?
Solamente uno.
Just one.
And is that tree sort of near where that window is?
Está un poquito hacia este lado, hacia, si yo estoy adentro, queda un poquito más acá de donde está la ventana por donde mire.
It's more to this side. If I'm inside, if you look out the window, it's more to this side.
To this side.
Ok, si estoy adentro de mi casa, ok, aquí está la puerta, el árbol está aquí un poco más hacia el lado izquierdo. La ventana queda más hacia el lado derecho, o sea que el árbol no impide que yo pueda ver lo que está pasando en la carretera.
If I'm inside and I'm looking out the window, the tree is more to the left. And the window is more to the right. So the tree doesn't impede me from seeing what's happening outside on the highway.
Okay. So the window that you were looking out from is further away from the Dominic Nicholson address next door.
Sí, pero está
It's
cerca de-
closer to the neighbor on the other side.
el de la derecha, yes.
On the right, yes.
Okay. And when you heard shots, you were upset,
Sí.
Yes.
scared,
Ujú.
and concerned for your safety.
Sí, pero ya habían,
Yes, but they
And-
had, yes.
And you did not stay at your window very long, did you?
no mucho.
Not much.
And the neighbors on the other side of Dominic's house, how well do you know that group of family members?
A los que están de qué lado.
The ones that are on which side?
On the other side of the Nicholson house, where the basketball net is?
Oh, Ok. No los conozco mucho.
I don't know them very much.
Okay. Do you see them around?
De vez en cuando.
Ah, hay unos que tienen el básquetbol que sí salen los muchachos jovencitos a jugar y sé que el señor es ex militar.
The ones where the basketball is, those young guys come outside to play, and I know that the older gentleman is ex-military.
Y al lado de la casa que está justo al lado de ellos, de mi vecino, y está al lado de la casa de la persona que está.
And next to the house that is next to my neighbors, that's the house for the person that's here.
Esta persona es un troquero, yo sé que maneja troces y tiene su esposa y viven ahí.
That person is a trucker and has his wife, and I know that they live there.
Ya, al lado de la casa de ellos, de mis vecinos que están del lado.
Next to my neighbors that are on that side.
Okay. Okay. And once you called the police, you did remain inside your home, correct?
Sí,
Yes.
I pass the witness at this time now.
All right, any further questions of this witness? Other than the exhibit?
Did you see your husband come in after you heard the shots?
sí, poquito después.
Yes, a little bit later.
And what was his demeanor like?
Your Honor, I object to relevance.
What is the relevance of this?
Your Honor, just to talk about like her involvement in the case and his as well.
I
From
don't
her
see how
knowledge.
his demeanor is relevant. The court is going to sustain the objection.
How long would you say after you heard the shots, did your husband come inside?
Muy poco tiempo después.
A very short while later.
Cuando yo lo llamo para advertirle, él me dice, yo
And he called me and then, and I went to tell him, he tells me,
And Deborah, were you subpoenaed to be here today?
sí.
yes.
Your Honor, we pass the witness.
Defense.
No questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right. To the witness, you'll need to make sure that you are back here this afternoon, and you'll need to be back here by 1:30 p.m. And they'll finish with the questioning. The rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone except for attorneys for the state or the defense, and you're not allowed to view anything. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our lunch break. I'm going to have you all back here at 1:30 p.m. Remember my previous instructions to you. You are not allowed to view anything. You're not allowed to do any investigation. You're not allowed to talk about this case. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.